Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's so good to have you here again at Confident Beauty, where every style tells a story. Last week, we explored the enduring grace and resilience of Vietnam. Today, our journey takes us to the Southern Hemisphere, to a land of sun, samba, and a culture that celebrates beauty with an unparalleled, vibrant energy. Welcome to Brazil. What is the secret to the Brazilian woman's confidence? It's a land where sensuality isn't a trend, but a way of life celebrated at every age from 18 to 80. This is not a story of quiet minimalism. It's a story of sun-kissed color, of voluminous, touchable curls, and of hair that is designed to move. It's a story where icons are not just young starlets, but powerful, mature women who define glamour well into their 50s, 60s, and beyond. Join us as we explore a century of vibrant, sun-kissed energy in Brazilian hair history, one decade at a time. In the 1920s, Rio de Janeiro was a cosmopolitan jewel, deeply connected to Paris. The Brazilian modern girl, known as the melindrosa, emerged. Like her European counterparts, she embraced the flapper bob. But for the mature, high-society women of Rio, this look was less rebellious and more refined. They wore the soft, Marcel wave bob popularized in Europe, a look of sophisticated modernity. But perhaps the most enduring influence came from icons like the artist Tarsila do Amaral, who adopted this chic, modern style, proving that a sharp bob was a sign of intellect and sophistication, not just a trend for the young. The 1940s in Brazil, and indeed the world, was defined by one explosive personality, Carmen Miranda. While she was in her 30s during her peak, her influence on women of all ages was profound. Her iconic fruit-laden turbans were theatrical, but they introduced the turban au turbante as a powerful, everyday accessory. For mature women, and especially for Afro-Brazilian women connecting with their candomblé traditions, the turban became an incredibly chic and practical way to express style, protect hair, and command attention. It was a look of pure confidence that transcended age, proving glamour could be both playful and regal. The 1950s and 1960s, this was the golden age of bossa nova, a sound that was smooth, sophisticated, and utterly cool. The style for high society women in Rio and Sao Paulo mirrored this. While America had its poodle cut, Brazil, like Italy, embraced the sculpted coiffed bouffant. This was a look of pure, imported European glamour requiring weekly salon visits. However, this was also the birth of Brazil's beach culture. So, in contrast to the rigid bouffant, a softer, more beaky glamour emerged, hair that could move to the girl from Ipanema. For mature women, this era was about choosing between the formal, sculpted updo for the city and a softer, more relaxed style for the coast. The 1970s, this was a revolutionary decade. As the Black Power movement Movimento Black took hold globally, it resonated deeply in Brazil. For the first time, natural, voluminous curly hair cabelo cacheado was not something to be hidden or straightened, but something to be celebrated. This was transformative for mature Afro-Brazilian women, who had spent decades under pressure to conform to European standards. Icons like Zezé Mota celebrated their natural texture with power and pride. This decade taught an entire generation of women in their 50s and beyond to find beauty and liberation in their natural roots. In Brazil, the 1980s were defined by one thing: novelas, soap operas. These TV shows were a national obsession, and the actresses were the ultimate icons. Hair was big. We're talking large, layered, permed, and heavily highlighted hair. But the most important trend was that this glamour was ageless. Actresses in their 50s and 60s, like the legendary Susana Vieira, had the exact same big, sexy, highlighted hair as the 20-year-old ingenues. In Brazil, glamour had no expiration date, and mature women were just as bold and fashionable as their younger counterparts, a philosophy that continues today. The 90s brought two opposing, massive trends. First, the rise of Brazilian supermodels, led by Gisele, who perfected the sun-kissed beach wave. This long, effortless, highlighted look became a global obsession. But the other trend was even bigger domestically: the escova progressiva, or Brazilian keratin treatment. The desire for sleek, frizz-free, pin-straight hair was immense. Mature women, especially those with unruly or graying hair, flocked to salons for this miracle treatment. It was the decade of choice. You either embraced the sun-kissed wave or the super sleek straight look. The 2000s and 2010s, after a decade dominated by straightening, a powerful counter-movement was born, led by a new generation of Afro-Brazilians. This was the Revolução dos Cachos, the curl revolution. Women of all ages began the big chop, cutting off all chemically straightened hair, and went through the transição capilar to rediscover their natural curl patterns. This was a profound cultural shift. For mature women in their 50s, this meant relearning how to care for their hair, embracing company washes, plopping, and new products to celebrate the texture they had been told to hide for most of their lives. The 2020s, and that brings us to today. The progressiva is still popular, but the love for natural texture is here to stay. The biggest trend for mature women is in color. It's called the morna illuminata, illuminated brunette. This is a subtle, sophisticated highlighting technique that adds warm, caramel, or honey tones to dark hair, blending grays seamlessly and adding a sun-kissed glow. The gure silver hair movement is also strong, but in Brazil it's often worn with a bold red lip and a sharp cut, a statement of power, not an oversight. It's the final proof of the Brazilian philosophy: beauty is energy, health, and sensuality, and that is truly ageless. 100 years. The story of Brazilian hair is a story of vibrant, sensual energy. It's a journey from European imitation to a powerful celebration of its own unique, sun-kissed, and multicultural identity. Brazil teaches us that hair is meant to be touched, to move, and to be celebrated. It teaches us that sensuality, confidence, and glamour are not the exclusive property of the young, but a lifelong celebration of the body and spirit. From the sun-kissed shores of Brazil, our journey next week takes us to the land of royalty, rebellion, and rock and roll. Join us as we explore 100 years of hair in the United Kingdom. We'll see you then.